What's going on, everybody? LK here. I wanted to kind of touch on something that came up a couple of months ago when the Project L trailer came out. I made two videos at that time. One was my initial real reaction to what they were showing of like just what was going on, things about like, oh, it's a team game, why we went this way, look at these characters, and then one kind of in-depth look at like every single thing that happened with like my notes. The second one, the one with the notes, was pretty chill, you know, but the first one of the main comments I got were people were like, why are you so mad? Why do you hate on team games so much? What is wrong with you? Team games are super fun. I wanted to share a little bit why, like, my problems with team games. Am I gonna play the game? Yes. Do I think it looks cool? Yes, honestly, but there's darkness in my heart when it comes to team games. So it's really just like three things. So I'm gonna try to talk about each one quickly. So my first team game is not this. It is actually this, Dragon Ball FighterZ. I did play Skullgirls a little bit. I did play Marvel vs. Capcom 3 a little bit, but I never could really get into them. Probably the team game I played the most that's not DBFZ was very early Skullgirls. If you guys don't know, this game, Skullgirls, came out in 2012, I want to say, originally, with 8 characters, so they've added a lot to this game over time. So really my first dance with a team game is Dragon Ball FighterZ. And funny enough, a lot of team game players I've talked to had told me, hey, this isn't the same as the others, but honestly, I'm not buying that shit. I'm keeping it real, I'm not gonna buy that shit. So problem number one I have is that it's harder to pick truly whatever you want. So I will say that Dragon Ball FighterZ did a really good job as time went on and they identified this problem. But this game also brought to me a really deep problem that I had with picking characters in fighting games recently. So my first 2D fighter is Melty Blood, but then I played BlazBlue after, and BlazBlue had a huge impact on me as a fighting game player. There's no other way to put it. And one of the things that always happens in BlazBlue is that there's always like Ragna the Blood Edge and Jin Kisaragi, like your Soul Kai equivalents, are always rated really highly when a new version comes out. But then honestly, this usually happens to Ragna and not Jin, because of Jin, how they make Jin, but Ragna tends to become weaker over time, so it's really easy for people to figure out combos and stuff. He's a really simple, straightforward character, but then as time goes on, the more technical characters like Carl, Lychee, Valkenheim, like those characters go up because people find out all their BS, all their bullshit over the course of the patch. Because of this, I was kind of raised to be like, oh, if you put in work with a character that's like hard, or at least like technical, or have like some weird thing, you could build them into a strong character. Like, just because something is good and easy fast does not mean that that's the best thing, and you shouldn't think that that's the best thing. So the first game that really put doubt in my mind is actually Dragon Ball. Guilty Gear also has this to a point. Like, Guilty Gear has strong and good, and usually that lasts compared to BlazBlue at least, but then there's also like harder technical characters that come up depending on the version of the game you're playing, right? Characters like Milia, Venom, Eddie, like those characters tend to get better over time. This game really put doubt in my mind. So there was actually a time where I played Ginyu because, and I talked about this a little bit in other videos, how you can choose to pick either the thing that's good that everyone's doing or something that seems good that no one is doing. So I tried doing the latter. Over like the 6 or 7 months I played Ginyu, I like was losing faith. I was like, dude, like every time I try to develop something, it turns out like there's like huge weaknesses, and the thing that everyone says is like really broken like right away is really good. It really is that good. And I sort of think it's a modern game thing. Instead of like totally rejecting it, I've been embracing it a little bit more, but I really see this in team games more than 1v1 games. Usually 1v1 games, everyone comes up kinda, where in team games, things kind of don't come up. Like the strong tactics are so strong that you can't really pick whatever you want. This character, Kid Buu, lasted so long. I don't know about right now, I haven't been really paying attention right now, so I know like Labco and Gogeta and Vegito, everyone's mad at, but this character, at one point I was like, Kid Buu is eternal. type thing. But usually the best thing you could do is people would do stuff like they wouldn't use the necessary meta characters, but they would use like a meta strategy. So like for example, when everyone was using SSJ Goku for a beam, some people would use Goku Black for a beam, but in the end it's like, oh, you still needed a beam, like some type of beam at least. So it's just kind of, I feel like it's harder to pick the thing that you want specifically, especially if you're trying to compete. Like either have to pick meta stuff or have to pick stuff really similar to the meta. And because like whatever is meta is so strong, this is my next problem, you can't really like finesse. So usually what ends up happening from what I've seen, I mean definitely in this game too, is that whatever is the strong tactic is so good, it has to be good and easy to execute on. So it's really hard to like pick something that's hard and do your thing, because the good thing, whatever is top tier, is easy. So for example, there's this character Majin Buu. So if you have followed this game, again, I can't speak for now, but Majin Buu is one of those characters where every patch people were like, you know who's really good right now? Majin Buu. So one time I did try it because I did believe I played there's a French player named Alioun who really put me on this character, and he always did really well with the character. He was kind of the only person who did well in tournaments with him, but I was like, oh, this character has all these tools, right? And then when I played him, I learned the lesson. You can't fucking finesse in these games. Like the easy good thing is really that easy and that good most of the time, like 90% of the time instead of like 60 or 70% of the time, which made it pretty sad. Because of these two things, it kind of summarizes in my final problem in that you're just more beholden to the meta overall compared to a 1v1 game. So I think all modern fighting games have been doing a good job making it so that you can pick whatever character that you want, but because your strategy has to be easy to execute in a team game, like specifically easy to execute in a team game if you want it to be consistent, people are just way more attached to these kind of things. For example, in this game, the type of characters that people complained about, even when they were good and even when they were toned down. So like a season 2 Bardock, for example, compared to season 1 Bardock, he was toned down for sure. Or like people complaining about UI and the type of stuff they would complain about, like, oh, his jab is good as opposed to like his many defensive options and things like that. So those are kind of like the main things that kind of bother me. It's cool to mess around with stuff in team games. There's a lot you could work with because of the combinations. I think that's really, really cool. For Project L in particular, it's 2v2 and not 3v3. So you're gonna have less character combinations, it seems like, but there should still be a lot there. There's also kind of the thing that it has like the BB tag type thing. This like sandwich type attack with one character, switch to the other character on the other side was like game defining for BB tag. Game defining and honestly does not look fun to deal with, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like there's a difference between like someone with 50 meter and Guilty Gear pulled up with you and they're gonna mix you, or someone has an assist in this game so they jump and high-low you, and like, oh, a character's on this side, the assist is on this side, and you tag, good luck. I don't think that would stick around for a long time in Project L if it turns that way. But if it does turn that way, all I gotta say is just get ready for it. But yeah, this one was just a quick little one. I just want to talk about why I was so down on it being a team game originally when the game launched. As usual, if you have any questions or comments, definitely feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Like and subscribe if you guys feel like it, and I'll see you all next time. Peace out.